Oh yeah, it's Berserk time. I don't think I want to be Guts anymore. So yeah, you guys were completely right when you said that Guts had reasons for being a complete asshole in the first arc. And even though it comes with the ability to wield a giant ass sword, I do not think that is worth what Guts went through in his childhood, which starts off with him being born from a dead, hanging woman in a pile of guts. Imagine being named after the thing you're born around, and it's disgusting. Like, couldn't you just name him like Steve or something? I know not as badass and prophetic, but like, come on, he's already having a rough childhood, and you're like, Guts, your name is the filth of your mother's entrails. Ugh, that's rough. But then he is picked up by Gambino, who doesn't want him, but luckily his side piece, wife, whatever, had a miscarriage. So Guts finally has a family, and she immediately dies in like the next 3 pages. Guts no longer has a surrogate mother, and his surrogate father is trying his best. He gets like a "you attempted it" sticker for the kids that like almost got a passing GPA in middle school or high school. Yeah, that's Gambino as a father. And then Gambino gets the F, something that would completely expel him from father school and get him on a watch list, by selling his son to Donovan. And I'm going to refer to any instance that happens like this as getting Donovaned, because I don't think the other word is allowed on YouTube. Holy fuck, that was dark. And I cannot believe that Miura just decided, yeah, that's part of the character building we're going to give Guts. And it shows through later on in the series, as I saw when a soldier tried to grab his arm after he killed Bauzo. He's like, get the hell off of me. Like, he is scared to get touched unless it's 8 feet away at the end of his sword. But Guts does get his revenge, making the death of Donovan look like an accident in battle. Now in terms of tragedy and trauma in a completely disgusting and horrible act, I believe Miura displayed it well, and the art was very tasteful, I guess you could say, in not making it look indulgent. I have to say that I don't like how other characters, and especially the females, are treated in a similar sense. I'll touch on it more later, but it does not feel as well handled as this did. This felt horrible and disgusting, but not gratuitous or indulgent in any way. I'll touch on it more later. But for now, things get even worse for Guts. I feel like that's a trend that's going around. And Gambino loses his leg, becoming even worse of a father, and CPS's Worst Father of the Year award, and tries to kill Guts, while spewing a bunch of vile shit about him, about how he's a bad omen, he's cursed, and most importantly, that yeah, he did get paid by Donovan. Holy shit, even in your drunkest moment, you couldn't take that back from your son. But Guts kills him and has to run from this mercenary band. And then there's just a badass scene where he fights a bunch of wolves, and then a super cinematic scene as he lays under the stars, questioning his life, looking up into the heavens. Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool, and I liked the art a lot. This was one of the best and fastest establishments of a character and his traits that I've seen. I can clearly see through the rest of Golden Age that I've read, and the Black Swordsman arc, which I don't know how far away it is in a flashback terms, all of the things established here. In a horribly concise manner, his childhood gave me the reasons he has an aversion to physical touch, cannot trust anybody, and an addiction to his sword, and why that is his way of life that he now contemplates. Because it has been his only constant so far, and will continue to be so. Developing his personal philosophy around the blade, and accomplishing everything through the wielding of the sword, makes sense, because only redemption that he ever had, or only success or praise he even got from Gambino, resulted from the use of that sword. But then we jump forward 4 years and we see Guts as a cold-hearted mercenary. Show me the money, as he fights Bauzo, and we get our first glimpse of Griffith. You can see Guts' complete and utter lack of regard for his life, and going for the kill of Bauzo's axe breaks, but if it didn't, he would have just gotten brained. You can clearly see he is a lost man boy teenager. But we also get to see Griffith, who is already scheming. He's not going to fight to the death. This castle's lost. He's gone. And as I mentioned earlier, the one soldier tries to congratulate Guts, and he has that aversion to physical touch and freaks out on him before going his own way, and the Band of the Hawk tries to rob Guts. Which Corcus, God, that guy is such a shrewd little schemy, slimy I want to choke him out. But later on, we do see that he actually does kind of care. But that does not turn out very well for these no-names who get absolutely demolished by Guts' sword before Casca has to intervene on Corcus's behalf, before Griffith has to intervene on Casca's behalf, before Guts has to bite a sword, before Griffith defeats Guts, and Guts now joins the Band of the Hawk. Holy shit, Guts has friends. Kind of. Actually, the sword bite was in the second duel after Guts woke up, of which Griffith tells him that he wants him. This is something that Casca's never heard him say about anybody else, and you get your first of the creepy Griffith super focused looks. And yeah, I can kind of tell how this guy turned into like a demon lord that we saw in the Black Swordsman arc. He is just kind of off. Like, I don't think any normal, well-adjusted person like looks into the eyes of somebody they just fought and are like, you belong to me. But in Guts' first battle with the Hawks, we can see how Griffith values him as he goes back to save him. And Griffith does everything with two purposes. There's nothing that he just kind of does willy-nilly, because he sets up a trap, and you can kind of see the scheming that's going on in this man's brain, and continues throughout what I've read so far. There's always another reason why he's doing something, for the most part. But things are really looking up for Guts, and it made me so happy to see something go right as the band accepts him and kind of congratulates him. Pippin tosses him on his shoulder, and they give him some beer. He kind of has found some friends, and he's very wary of it, and he doesn't really know what's going on, but he smiles, and it warmed my heart after seeing so much cruel and disgusting shit happen to this poor boy. But the next day, Guts takes an impromptu shower with Griffith. Shower fight. Everything has to be a fight with Guts in this scenario. And the beelit is revealed. The egg thing that we saw in the Black Swordsman arc. And here's my crackpot theory, that Guts got his brand because Griffith came to value him so much, part of his plan, so that he could sacrifice him like they asked the Count to sacrifice his daughter. But along with that, we get the reveal that Griffith's ambitions are to have a kingdom. He's like, give me my knights, give me my land, give me my castle. I'm trying to be balling out here. Doesn't matter that I'm a commoner. And Guts is kind of put in awe. He's like, holy shit, somebody has a dream besides killing people in survival? Wild. But as we flash forward, we see more character interactions and battles with Guts in the Band of the Hawk. Like when he rushes onto the field by himself, allowing the win to happen that day, Casca gets really pissed off. She's like, you put your men in danger even though they weren't there. You put yourself in danger, and you put my team at risk because I was flanking. She's very antagonistic to Guts. She does not like how Griffith, one, values him too much, two, how reckless he is. She's kind of valid in that, but also like when a dude succeeds, he just kind of succeeds. He's that boy. But I do like how manga can make the passage of time seem long without it having to take up a lot of pages. Like we see Griffith get knighted and we see Guts do training, and I can feel the passage of time. I feel like Guts is getting ingrained in the band, and that I think is a unique experience with this medium, because you don't have to have the jarish 4 years later or something. Even though they do those things, the art can show it in just a few panels. But the last big thing to happen before the Midland War arc is the battle with Zodd. This was fucking cool. Guts and Griffith have to take on Zodd. First, Guts, and he pretty much gets his ass whooped with only one hit on Zodd, who then transforms into a demon. And this is the first instance of demonry that we've seen since the Black Swordsman arc. And holy shit, this dude beats ass. And things are looking pretty dire. Even after Griffith cuts off one of Zodd's arm, he just reattaches it until he sees the egg of the king, the beelit. And he's like, the eclipse is coming, the demon resurgence, or whatever he called it. I was like, wait a minute, what? What's happening? What's going on? Why is it centered around Griffith's neck? And then he just dips out of the place, completely sparing Guts and Griffith. And now Casca's even more protective of Griffith because Guts decides to fight demons to save his men. No, but actually it's because Griffith chooses to risk his life for Guts over and over again, making these less calculated decisions than he usually would, and Casca cannot understand it because he's never done this for anybody else, and more specifically, he's never done anything like that for her. But before Zodd leaves, he leaves a very ominous message for Guts, and he's like, dog, you don't want to hang around this fool. He is no good for you. Peace out. This just enforces my theory that Guts is going to be sacrificed by Griffith. But can we talk about how cool of a concept Zodd is? Zodd the Immortal, who's been haunting battlefields and fucking shit up for over 100 years. Goddamn, like, Good shit. And then we get a nice moonlit talk with Guts and Griffith, where Guts decides that for now, Griffith is the reason that he fights. He doesn't really know what his path is going to be, so he'll currently just help in achieving Griffith's dream, but we can already see the seeds of Guts going his own way. He's like, that's pretty fucking cool. I want to do that for myself. I don't know what I'm gonna do, but for now, I fight for you. And now with the politicking and shenanigans of Midland, we start off with Griffith almost getting murdered, but then knowing that it's the general who did it, and sending Guts as an assassin. And not a very subtle assassin. I feel like everybody would know after seeing people cleaved in half that there's only one man that really can do this, but that's besides the point, as he has to kill the general and now his son because he witnessed it. And seeing him practice with his son, the general, Guts is reminded of trying to get Gambino's approval, and when he has to kill the son and he goes through the sewers, you can tell it really impacted him and fucked him up big time. But he tracks down Griffith, who's talking to the princess about what it means to be his friend, what he's looking for, and he wants an equal, and this is where Guts vows to be that equal. And then there's this beautiful, one of my favorite panels so far, of the inverted black and white with Guts down below on the stairs and Griffith up top like a goal he's reaching towards. This was a rapid sequence overall, but Griffith is really going all out for the throne now, killing the brother of the king, schmoozing with the princess, and knowing that Minister Foss is trying to put all this on. He's like, I got you pinned, boy. You try any shit like you're gonna do later? I already know. But we get our next battle with the Corbel Wits whale people. I do like the making fun of the anime tropes with the special attacks and the super long names. That always got a laugh out of me. But Casca is having some, let's say, female problems and is unable to defeat their leader, who seeks her out in a very sexist way. And in her worst case scenario, Guts is the person to save her. And they end up falling off the cliff and having to spend a lot of time together, which is exactly what neither of them want. But we do get an explanation on why Casca simps so hard for Griffith, with her backstory of essentially being sold because her family could not support it, and the noble trying to Donovan her. And this is where we need to talk about the portrayal of these scenes and the framing in sometimes a gratuitous manner. This is honestly probably one of the lesser offenders. We have two similar instances of Guts getting Donovaned and Casca almost getting Donovaned. When it comes to Guts, it feels brutal and completely dark in the paneling, while in Casca's, and I notice in the goat scene in the Black Swordsman arc, the art is not trying to draw attention to the atrocities in the female instance, but instead to the women themselves. Less so in this Casca scene, but more so in future scenes that we see in the series. This pulls me out of the story because it is displaying a dark event with art that is more reflective of something you'd find on Rule 34 than in brutal reality. This is my issue with Miura's art in these instances. It feels like he is not applying the same severity of circumstance, and the art's purpose changes from proving a point to unnecessary indulgence. The art undercuts the true purpose of the event. I understand that this is a very dark story, and I have no problem using events like getting Donovan to develop characters and provide more context into their lives. But I have a problem when it comes to the art. It completely takes me out of the story when it is not treated with the gravity that is necessary for a dark event such as this. But moving on past that, we see that Griffith actually does care about his troops besides Guts when we get the flashback of Casca talking to him about why he slept with the royal guy. He's like, dude, made more sense. I got paid more here and risked 0 troops. And he's clawing at himself of, he's like, is it all worth it for my dream of risking these people's lives? And you know what, man? Is it? We'll see. But then we get Guts versus the 100 men. This shit was so cool. He sends Casca off to go see her swordmaster, which, goddamn, bro, backhanded as all hell. But then we get to see Casca fight and why she deserves to be a battle commander instead of just being told about it. It is nice to see somebody competent in battle besides just Guts. As much fun as it is, but we do get to see Guts be even more competent in battle as he drops straight bars when he's like, the sun's gonna come up before I'm done splitting heads. Like, that's goddamn heat. Casca and the band then find Guts in a field of corpses just chilling against a tree, and she's actually happy to see him, so we can see their relationship kind of turning around after their time in the cave together. Under the stars, Guts then shares with her that he's going to be leaving the Band of the Hawk after this campaign, that he wants to go and find his own purpose. It's sweet to see that with somewhat safety and a family around him, he finally found enough comfort to then think about the next level of self-development and where he's going to go as a person. It took him not just fighting for his life on a bunch of battlefields to realize that there's more and he can seek his own dream. But now we're at the final battle of Doldry, where Griffith volunteers the Band of the Hawk to take the fortress that has never been taken. This is one of my favorite sequences and sets so far within the series, and a ton of shit is happening on two fronts. First off, we have the main battle with Guts and Griffith while Casca sneaks into the fortress. We actually find out that the governor in command is the man that Griffith slept with to save members of the Band of the Hawk from going to battle so he could feed them. So there's an extra layer there, and apparently he's such a good lay that the man wants him alive again. Good job, Griffith. We'll start with the Casca stuff, which she runs into the Korbelwitza guy again, and I wish that she could just handle something competently all the way through, because he pulls the crossbow trick again and she gets poisoned. Like, it's so annoying. I wish that there would just be a sequence from A to B where she doesn't have to be made a fool of. But on the other hand, Guts is just a fucking badass. His sword is damaged from the 100 men fight, but he's going against the super purple rhino knights. It still makes me laugh. And it breaks. But luckily enough, Zodd is just chilling on a hill and yeets his sword down there, so Guts is able to defeat the enemy commander. The paneling on here and the massive scope of the battle just feels so goddamn epic. I love the art when it comes to the battle scenes, and especially when Guts is in a sword fight. But to end these volumes that I read, Griffith literally cooks the opposition in Midland, foiling another assassination attempt while killing the Queen and all the conservatives that are against him. Minister Foss is just absolutely dumbfounded about how this man's brain can just predict stuff off of a stare, and Guts looks really cool in his desperado outfit as he carries out the dirty work, which Griffith feels a little guilty about. He questions, like, am I a bad person? And Guts is like, nah bro, you're just doing whatever you can to achieve your dream. And I wonder if Guts is gonna change his viewpoint on that. But Griffith does not know that Guts is going to leave the band yet. As Guts goes to leave, Casca confronts him. Crocus is the most unhelpful person ever, and Judeo makes him question his feelings for Casca, and he's like, I don't feel good enough at this moment, and finally chooses to depart before his final encounter with Griffith. Griffith cannot let him go. He's like, you belong to me, and we're going to settle this the mercenary way. We see the childish side of Griffith as he'd rather kill Guts than let him leave, and I'm glad that Griffith was not even close in this duel. Guts has been honing his skills through hundreds of thousands of individual fights, while Griffith has been honing his skills in the courtroom. It does not make sense that they would be the same skill level they were years ago, and Guts handedly defeats him and leaves Griffith in a completely dumbfounded state as Guts walks away on his own path. He knows that Griffith will keep on going because his dream is much farther along, and Casca has a bunch of unresolved feelings. I love that Guts is self-actualizing his dreams and not just staying comfortable. It is uncomfortable for him to just be in one place. In contrast to the Black Swordsman arc, which did not have a lot of emotional beats and character development, the Golden Age has been the complete opposite. Much less of just pure badassery and evil, and moreover developing these characters and who they are as people. I think the main characters have been fleshed out extremely well while keeping the plot moving in such an efficient manner. I'm super excited to see where things go from here. Like and subscribe if you enjoy. Let me know if you want to see more, and I don't know how I should split these up because this felt like a really long review, and I honestly kind of like doing them shorter.